If you think being a parrot owner is just about tossing seeds and saying pretty bird, think again. You need to be a full-blown secret agent, complete with a trench coat, dark sunglasses, and a notepad for surveillance. Your parrot is always up to something. Whether it's perfecting the art of screaming precisely when you take a phone call, or shredding paperwork with the precision of a rogue document destroyer. By closely tracking behaviors, over time, you can start seeing patterns, like realizing that squawking at 5 a.m. isn't random, but part of a grand psychological experiment they're conducting on you. Once you have enough intel, you can strategically adjust their environment, reinforcing good behavior and outmaneuvering their more diabolical tendencies. After all, if you don't keep a watchful eye, one day you might wake up to find your feathered mastermind has hacked your smart speaker and ordered 20 pounds of cashews.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Jocelyn. Hi, Calvin. I think that today Cecil has decided he wants to join one of the local tribes as he's got his little feather up here. You know.
He looks so adorable.
It's been like that now for this. It was like that yesterday. I don't know what's going on. It's probably ready to come out, but no, you can't have the clipboard. No, you can't. No. That's only for secret agents. It's not for you. No. That's not for it's not for you. That's for secret agents. That's right. We could try giving you a paper out of it, but you wouldn't let me hold it that long to get to it, would you? No, you wouldn't. Back off. Back off. Back off. Cecil. No. Just cut it out. Cut it out. Cecil. Cecil. I'll give no. There's one of these papers you can have. No. Here.
So Calvin says in chat that it's too late for him. He already got 20 pounds of cashews. Awesome.
Stop it.
Hello, Lisa. Good to see you. Yeah, Cecil. Cecil is Cecil again.
Hi, Lisa.
Sweetie pie.
Yeah, he's decided he's going to join a local tribe, so he's got a feather of the brave here.
So what's up with Mander? Has he joined us today?
Yes, I had to keep Lucy out of here. I'm bringing her in on the second group because she's got it in her head now that she can chase him. So
Tiny Lucy chases Big Mander. Mm-hmm.
So we've got Mander and we've got Jazz and Sugar and Cecil and KK, who's ended up with the paper. Now, what are you doing? You're not going to get it. No, you're not. No. And you've already given the paper to someone else.
Nope. Keep that feather.
You look odd with
you
that.
look so good.
He's a cutie, aren't you? He's a cute bird.
Yeah.
I know you want the clipboard. I know.
Hmm.
Can't have it. No. Can't have it. Hi, Falcon Sue. Yeah, Mander graced us with his presence today. I promised him Lucy wouldn't be in here, so no Lucy, no Snowball. He's okay with KK being here because KK tends to just play on the couch I put together here.
Hmm.
My faux couch.
So Lucy is basically the chief parrot investigator, since she found out she can annoy you by chasing men on the floor.
Yep. No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do it. No, no, no.
Because Don decided to put Lucy in a different spot of the room, and she obviously didn't like it.
Well, now
I mean,
I
she
think she
could
does.
just walk somewhere else, but that's not how it works.
Yeah, she was going on the floor, and that's kind of dangerous because when I'm moving back and forth, I can't have a bird on the floor. So I put her over there, and she seemed fine, except that she defends the area, and Amanda likes to walk by to her. I mean, he's got other ways he could get to that spot, but he's not going to do it. Not Foghorn Leghorn. No. I'll say that's the only way I go. I go this way. Oh no, there's that chicken hawk after me again.
Mhm.
And I moved it so you couldn't do that. That was sneaky, but it didn't work. Didn't work, Cecil. I moved it. It's not fair for me to move it. I know, but oh well. Life isn't fair. Nope. What are you doing? Hmm? What are you doing? I get down there, climb up. I let you go all that way, and then I'm going to move it. You're on a mission, aren't you? Up, up. You almost got me to disconnect the video. Yeah, you did, little toad. You little toad. Hmm? Yeah, see, KK's playing with the paper. Why don't you go play with KK instead of worrying about the clipboard? Mander, what you doing? Sugar. You have to bother the sugar once in a while.
What a beautiful sugar bird.
She is a beauty. What do you know? These they've just turned into queso.
Oh, queso. What do they have there? The paper from the last live stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, so happy boys.
Okay, I gotta put on my focus. We're
So
on a
if
live
you
meeting.
ever have to destroy some evidence, you can hire Cecil and KK. Just
Yeah,
hold on.
that's a fact. You guys. Yeah, we're going to talk today about being a secret agent, which basically means keeping an eye on them, keeping records, writing things down, recording things with video. It's amazing what you can find out that way, right? Right, Cecil? Hmm? Big boy. Big gay. Yeah, this is umbrellas. And then there are the Mohicans, right? They are definitely into spacing out the distance between each other. Hi, Jazz. Goes to sleep. Well, the first thing you do, might as well get into some of this, is just start taking notes, you know? That's the first thing you should do. And include things like the time of day, the environment, if there's been any changes in the environment you've noticed. You know, basically record all the things that occur before a behavior, and then whatever the behavior is, and the consequence of the behavior. So, for example, if your your bird nips at you a little bit, and you put it back in the cage, and it goes over to its bowl and it eats, and it sits there like it's happy, you know, that might be an indication that they're using nipping to get back to their cage. So that was tricky, but you didn't succeed. Nope, nope, nope. Didn't succeed. And see, he opens his beak like that at me, but it's not because he is being aggressive. It's because he's shocked that I would take something from him that is just sitting on a table. It should be his, right? Is it yours? No, it's not yours. If I had two of them, it would truly confuse him. I don't know what he'd do with two of them. You can't let him beat up one because he'll go after the other. So probably make my job harder. But observing is important, and I've got some notes on observation that I'll try to, if I can get him to let me look at it. All right, I covered all that. Come here. Come here. No, can't have it. You can't have it. No, no. Oh, what you've done, silly bird. Cut it out. Cut it out. And there's other influences you need to know too. I mean, there's times of the year where they get more, uh, they have more mating behavior. I'm dealing with that right now. So Romeo and Lucy and KK are the big ones that are causing that issue. Oh, Pippa too. Pippa's also, I gotta watch her. She can't pet her too much or she'll start vibrating. So, and you ask why when you're doing these investigations without assuming that you don't want to assume um, they're just doing something out of meanness or something like that, because generally they don't do that, so that there's something they want. You have to try to figure out what it is they're trying to get. We know what Cecil's trying to get. He wants to get the clipboard, but the evil clipboard that hides paper inside of it. Right? Right. So there's a lot of reasons they may do something. They might do it out of boredom. They might do it because they're attention seeking, or they might do something that's stressful because they're stressed. Um, that video, which you guys haven't seen, I'm going to play this video again. I played it at the beginning, but that was before everybody got here. There's one bird in there that is stressed. See if you can figure out which one it is.
If you think being a parrot owner is just about tossing seeds and saying pretty bird, think again. You need to be a full-blown secret agent, complete with a trench coat, dark sunglasses, and a notepad for surveillance. Your parrot is always up to something, whether it's perfecting the art of screaming precisely when you take a phone call, or shredding paperwork with the precision of a rogue document destroyer. By closely tracking behaviors over time, you can start seeing patterns, like realizing that squawking at 5 a.m. isn't random, but part of a grand psychological experiment they're conducting on you. Once you have enough intel, you can strategically adjust their environment, reinforcing good behavior and outmaneuvering their more diabolical tendencies. After all, if you don't keep a watchful eye, one day you might wake up to find your feathered mastermind has hacked your smart speaker and ordered 20 pounds of cashews.
I think it's pretty easy to tell which bird was stressed. And that's from a library that I have that I can draw videos from, that you give them a measly $67 a year and you have about 20,000 things you can download, but that you can use. Yeah, one of the birds they had in there is actually stressed. It's not a pleasant video if you really pay attention to it, but that one little section, that cockatoo chewing on that rail and putting its foot in its beak, is not happy. Might just be because he's being filmed, but doesn't look like a happy bird. So, so the question you ask is, why is the bird chewing on the cage? Well, if the bird has been in its cage for quite a while, you've been busy doing something else, it may just be bored. Does it have enough toys? The big question, is it a big enough cage? We just dealt with that, fortunately. And now we have a much happier bird here because he couldn't take the cage he was in. I had him in a bigger cage, but he took it apart. Not as big as this one, but he just pulled it apart. So that didn't work. After we broke the second bar, I had to put him in a different cage. So, that changing of that environment has changed his behavior. He now will go back in his cage. I can put him in there. I don't have to towel him anymore. He doesn't hang on the side of the bars and scream anymore. He plays with his toys. So look at the environment. It's important to be able to record, what happens before the situation is before, and the behavior as it occurred, and what you believe the consequence was. I mean, it's fairly obvious if the bird goes over and knocks something off the table, depending on its behavior. There's that one video on YouTube where the umbrella cockatoo walks over and knocks over this stack of cups and then struts away. Well, that's what it wanted to do. You could pretty much tell that it found that amusing. You know, it was enjoying itself. But you need to try to ask why and not put a bunch of labels on why. You don't want to label them. So that's a hard one. I mean, I say don't label things, and you probably go, oh, well, that's not it. That's easy. No, it isn't. It took most of the people in my class, and these are professionals. I was in there with a bunch of vets, mostly taking the first class in applied behavior analysis, and it took them they'd start talking, and then Dr. Friedman would say, you're labeling to almost everybody. And everybody had to talk, so catch yourself labeling. You could say, if I were going to label that behavior, she's bored. Actually, she has her eyes are mostly closed. Her beak is on her chest. Her feathers are mostly pulled to herself. She's probably mostly asleep. But you describe the behavior you see, not the oh, she's bored. No, these birds this is just their time of day for being kind of quiet and sleepy, with the exception of the umbrellas that just try to merge. Right, guys? You're a silly bird. You know that though, don't you? Cecil? Is he still in there? You know, you might give him some room to breathe. There you go. Might give him some room to breathe, don't you think? Yeah.
So let's say welcome to Rosebud Atkins and Jocelyn Triggle. Hey, you guys.
Hi, Rosebud.
Oh, Hazel, you're sweet. And Sugar looks so elegant when napping. I wish I would.
Yeah, Rosebud. It looks like Cecil wants to join a particular type of group because he has a single feather sticking up on his head. Don't you? Don't you? Silly bird. Hi, baby. Hi, Cecil. Silly boys.
Don?
What?
You could play the thank you video for Jocelyn since she became a member.
Oh, cool. I hadn't seen that. I'm blind. Thank you for becoming a member. Yeah, he could take over, but he's generous most of the time. He's got his moments, though, don't you? Don't you? You don't like me with the clipboards, but you're getting better about it. He's getting desensitized. He still attacks it. He tries to, but not as much. So one thing you can use, and I think you can download these from behaviorworks.org. I haven't looked recently, but they have ABC charts, which basically have a spot for antecedent, what comes first, right? Which will list things like the setting environment, which is the immediate environment. what specifically happened around the behavior, then the behavior itself, and what the bird got from the behavior. And sometimes it's not what we expect, as I was saying, a bird that gets put away because it nips. If it wants to be put away, you're reinforcing being nipped. Okay? You don't want to do that. So generally in that situation, I suggest putting them on a perch somewhere else or putting them in a separate little cage for just 2 minutes or so, just so that where there's nothing to do. Give them a timeout. That's actually called a negative punishment, right? You're taking something away, their freedom or the spot where they like to be or where they want to be, and in order to reduce or extinguish the behavior. So be careful what you reward your bird for. But if you keep track of it, you can see that, well, bird nips, goes back to its cage, goes over and starts eating treats. Bird nips, goes back to its cage, goes over, starts eating treats. That kind of, after a while, it'll even sink into the dullest mind. Well, maybe they want to go back to their cage. Should do that in the foghorn leghorn voice, but I'll say, maybe he wants to go back to his cage. But we recently had Cecil nipping at me to get petted. Now, what happens, the worst thing he'll do is he'll tap me with his foot, and if I don't pay attention right away, he'll start whacking me with his foot. Like, hello, I'm saying pet me. Who's getting trained? We're both being trained. I'm trained to pet him when he does that, and he's trained to do that instead of nipping. So it's good to keep notes even when nothing terrible is happening. Just try to look and see what your bird, what the circumstances are, what behaviors come about, and what consequences they get. Okay, so if you have a bird that starts occasionally screaming, you better be keeping notes, because it could be maybe they want attention and they're not getting it, and then you're going to get a lot of screaming down the line, or some other behavior. I say some other behavior because there's this phenomenon that when you take away a behavior that someone expects, then they do all kinds of strange things. It's called an extinction burst. But when you put your money in the candy machine to get a Snickers bar, and instead it drops an apple, you're going to react funny. Who knows quite what? You don't even know what you're going to do because you're not expecting it, right? So it's good to start when I was taking my classes in ABA, and the first class I took, I had to keep extensive notes. Now I try to keep them in my head because I've got 12 birds here, but some of them I have to write down because I see something coming, like what happened with Cecil. I saw what was coming with him, and I had to do something about it. So I started taking notes when it happened, what the circumstances were. Never happened in the aviary, always happened in here. Always when he was done playing, and he was just sitting there, like being what we would say is bored, but you don't want to use that. He's just sitting doing nothing, and the next thing you know, he's coming over to nip my arm to get petted. So because I saw that, whenever he would start sitting, basically looking, not doing anything, just sitting there, kind of looking like he was becoming a doll, a stuffed animal cockatoo. At that point, I would be observing him closely, and when he would come and try to put his beak at me, I would pull my arm away. And then I would pet him, and then one day he reached over with his foot and tapped me, and then I immediately started petting him and praising him, and that was it. Once I did that, after that, he was using his foot to get the behavior. So, but again, I had observed, I paid attention to when these behaviors occurred, and I was prepared to deal with them as they came up. If you're just trying to deal with this stuff off the cuff and you're not preparing for it, you're not keeping notes, someday you'll regret that. Right? Just like that one person comes over the bird doesn't like. Okay, you've got to fix that. You've got to start observing exactly what the bird does and what kind of reward. If the bird isn't being given any rewards and you're walking off with somebody and the bird's upset, that's not good. So in that kind of situation, you start observing this so it doesn't get worse. You start making sure that you don't give your bird any of its special treat that you do when you're training, which training doesn't mean sitting on a perch, right? Training's going on whenever you're around the bird or even when they can just hear you or you can just hear them. So that person goes over and hands a treat. You have to find the safest way to do that. But protected contact, hands the bird its favorite treat. And after a while, that behavior will stop. If not, you need to try different techniques until you get the behavior under control. So, and by under control, I mean under the bird's control, because you can't control the bird. You're going to teach the bird to control itself because it wants a certain consequence, and that's what it gets. Oh, thank you, Lisa, for that super sticker. Thank you so much. You're really helping us out right now, and there's never a time we needed it. Thank you so much. Cecil, say thank you. He's like, what? Me talk? About 10 times a year. Maybe 10 times a year, huh, Cecil? You decide to say Cecil or hello or hi. That is the hard part of training. If you're teaching them to say something, people will say you could put a recording on. You could have a recording playing forever. It might not do anything. What you want to do is catch them when they start making sounds. Doesn't matter what they're doing, but once they start to make sounds and they're looking at you, that's when you start repeating words. The way you want them spoken, you don't need to teach them in slow motion because that's what they'll do. If you teach them to say hi, then they're going to go hi. So, you teach them hi Cecil, hi Cecil, hi Cecil. Right. You wait till they vocalize or while they're looking at you and paying attention to you as you talk. Right? Right, Cecil? We have fancy names for all this, but basically what you want to do, another thing you need to do with your little notebook is count how many times something happens, right? How many times a day or how many times a week. When it happens, record it. That's easy to do. You write the behavior down, and then on a piece of paper, one single sheet, you put the behavior at the top, and you just start noting. It happened at 9:35 in the morning, right? And so you can just keep track of when it happens, when and where, if the situation changes too. So when and where is important, but you can write down a location and then just keep it there until there's a change and then write that down. So that alone will get you a head up on what's going on with your bird. So because we tend to not see everything that is going on, so we say, oh, all of a sudden my bird started to, 9 times out of 10, it's not all of a sudden. So it wasn't all of a sudden when he started nipping my arm. And initially it was gentle. And then he started when it got rougher, I realized he was doing it. And of course, if I caught him right in the beginning, it would have taken me less time. It took about a week to train him out of it. To get him to decide not to do that. Because he knows that if he touches me with his foot, it will work every time. Sometimes he has to do it a few more times because we're human and we don't pay attention, but hi. Hey. You moved, Mander. Boy, that was a major thing. You moved a good foot and a half. KK is still chewing wood. So the actual, it's called behavior frequency tracking, or BFT, and it makes a big difference if you're taking notes on when things happen. And what I'm saying right now may not really mean that much. You may have so many other things to do in your life, but when you start running into problems, just try to remember that you can do these little tricks. These are just part of ABA. So keeping an ABC chart, what happens, the antecedents, the behaviors, and the consequences, and the behavior frequency tracking, right? But as far as the behavior frequency, this little boy attacking that clipboard has gone down to me. I didn't track it while we're in a meeting, but 3 or 4 times here. But I bring it in just to train him, and it's gone from being constantly after it to attacking it 3 or 4 times a day. So it's way down from where it was. I think he's planning to sneak up on it again, though. It's time to see if he can get the clipboard. Yep. I moved it. Yep. You gonna try climbing up? Are you? Did somebody take your clipboard? You think it's your clipboard? Just gonna put it back there. It's such a fascinating thing, isn't it? So fascinating. It's just so fascinating with the seesaw. It's a clipboard. Yeah. Remember when Chloe nearly had a hissy fit when I brought in a new lamp, and I kept telling her it's a lamp. I bring it in the room and she'd start screaming, and after a while she started sitting on it. I had to leave it unplugged. She liked to use it as a perch. So to start shaping their behaviors, it's going to take time, but if you start taking notes, it's going to go a lot easier. No, Rico. Thank you, Rico. Say thank you, Rico. You can't. You can't. You could. You could say thank you. You really could. It's just not one of your things, is that you don't like talking all that much.
Not the Cecil.
It's always surprising when he starts saying hello. Hello. Who in the world is?
But
Oh, it's
we
Cecil.
have a lot of other talkers in the vlog, so there you can see it's just like some birds talk, some don't. Nobody is forced into talking. Just some like
Nope.
KK, so he basically grabs up every phrase he thinks is useful.
I am fairly sure if he actually spoke and I handed him that clipboard and let him chew on it, I kept doing that, he would start talking a lot more because he wants the clipboard that bad that he would be willing to learn to talk to do that. But
Yeah, that's the thing. You probably can get him to talk by using this kind of tricks. I mean, it's kind of, I guess, okay as long as you don't overdo it.
well, no, it's what you're looking at is there's something they want in the world, a consequence, and you're looking for a particular behavior. That's what you do. When you're trying to train the behavior, you specifically do that. There's nothing
That's the
that's
thing.
part of the process. As long as it's not something that's going to hurt them,
Yeah.
Clipboards, gee, Clipboard is not as important as getting him to enjoy life. So whatever it takes.
But the thing is, if Cecil really starts to talk, I'm not sure how this will end. Like, he started to talk and never stops then. Blah, 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 blah. And Dad, did you know that? Blah, blah.
This is fun. I'm getting as close as I can to it. See how close I can get without you taking it away. So a lot of what you're doing with taking notes too is trying to see how, excuse me, how you can build trust with your parrot. It's like Dr. Zelix talks about. You have a bank, and it's a little piggy bank in your mind that you every time you do something that the bird enjoys, well, you're adding to that trust bank. But as soon as you do something they don't want or something that disturbs them, now you're withdrawing from it. So you want to keep that bank as full as you can, and it helps to keep notes. They've got us so convinced that every moment of our day has to be allocated to something. That the idea of keeping notes is kind of, unless you've paid over $1,000 for courses, you probably will not actually take notes. But you feel like you've thrown your money away if you're not doing what you've been told. But I'll tell you, it really helps. I mean, he doesn't bite my arm anymore to get petted, so that's just one example. Everybody in here has got some kind of a behavior that I've had to deal with. It's easy enough to give Mander his medicine in the morning because when he first wakes up, he tends to just sit on one of his perches and he's kind of But later in the day, he likes to try to hide and keep me from giving him his medicine. He doesn't need much. I mean, I'm surprised that it even does anything. But if you don't give it to him, he will start ripping his feathers out, and then he also starts going around in circles. So, and not in a good way. It's okay when they do that circle where they spin their head and they go back. That's fine. But when they're just on the bottom of the cage going around and around and around, that's not good. That's stereotypic behavior. So. Probably due to the pain in his pelvis and other issues. It's hard to say exactly why, but found something that works and he's happy with it. Except in the mornings, I mean in the afternoon when I give him his night dose, I have to. What I do is his main perch is actually a 2x4, and I just take it off there because he gets down on the bottom of the cage and hides from me, and I just put the perch on the other side of him and just slightly use the perch to bring him a little close to me, and then I give him his medicine and praise him and give him a toy. I mean, that's what it takes at night. In the morning, it's just easy. I go over and he lets me do it. He turns away from me, but he still lets me do it. Jasmine pretty much just uses her tongue to try to stop me, but it takes me maybe a minute to get her dose in her. And she'll tear up herself if she doesn't get it, so I have to be dead sure. With Mander, he'll just start acting weird and pulling his feathers, but she'll actually hurt herself physically. So, and this one is pretty good, aren't you? Aren't you? In the morning, she won't take it right away. I have to walk around, give everybody else their medicine, pet her halfway through that, and go back to her, and then she'll take it. If I try to give her medicine first thing, she won't do it. She'll try to get away from me. But I think it takes a while for her to get hungry because she likes the peanut butter, but not when she first wakes up. Just kind of imagine like you're trying to wake up your significant other person and you shove a donut in their face. It doesn't always work. You know? Like, what are you doing? That's the attitude she gives me. So there's different. You come up with different approaches. I have a stick with a what I call a hat on it, and he has to wear his little hat. And then he's fine taking his medicine. This one. If he doesn't, his feathers get all chewed up. He's got one feather that has to come in to replace that time when he didn't get the medicine. But I had a former rescuer who actually had him at her facility, who was all upset that he had to take medicine. Well, he does. He just has to take medicine. Sorry. I tried taking him off of it, and he just tears his feathers up. So I might be able. I could possibly reduce it now, but it's so low anyway. I don't. It's about half of what a normal umbrella would get. So an umbrella with that problem, rather destructive. He'll tear off all of his feathers in one day if you don't give it to him. So I've seen the pictures. That was before he got here, but hi. Looking at it's good enough, huh? Is it like a TV for you or what?
Maybe.
That's something I learned early on from the Lily Sanctuary, which is gone now. But at first, they were trying to just find good homes, and they weren't charging anything. They didn't know. I mean, they just started out. They found out that as soon as they did that, these people would take them and turn around and sell them for money. So then they started charging about 2/3 of what it would be to buy them in a store, as an adoption fee. And then they found some good homes, because when you invest in the animal, you invest in bringing them in your home, you're more likely to try to work it out. But again, if you don't invest anything of yourself in learning how to do this, then the odds are you're not going to do it until you get here. He's putting that into the bead. That's how he makes toys. He's just shoving it back and forth, but he actually will put more than one bead onto a rope like that. Pretty smart little boy, aren't you, kid?
What a good Cecil boy.
He makes his own toys. You can see how he does it. Then sometimes he'll hook the end of it and pull it way out and then put another bead on it, or a piece of wood or something else. But now he's just having fun pushing it back and forth. Right, Cecil?
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, I've known some people.
Nobody's causing trouble.
No, Sugar's up there. She's just preening. Jasmine just got done preening.
Back there. Jasmine and Mander.
Jasmine's preening again. KK's just hanging out on my side, chewing wood and paper. Yeah, Dr. Friedman, I don't know if she does anymore, but she used to offer a free course in ABA. And the last I heard, she was going to stop doing it because the people who were taking the course weren't actually using it anyway. The ones who paid for it did. they valued it. But the ones who weren't, she was doing follow-ups, and they couldn't even remember the basic teachings. But the people who paid for it could. So But there'll come a time when you may need this, and you might remember to start taking notes. It may be a little late, but that's still, it's better late than never. Keeping notes and makes a huge difference. That's why he doesn't nip my arm anymore. I could go through a whole bunch of behaviors that have changed. I mean, this one here, she had tons of different things that had to be changed. Her eating habits, her tendency to self-destructive behavior, the lack of playing with toys. There was just a ton that had to be done to make her. And she's much better now. She's a pretty well rounded out bird in captivity. As good as you can get them in captivity. Cecil, what are you doing?
Sugar looks really, really happy right now. So dedicated to training.
Yeah, she's come a long way.
Yeah,
If
and
I
she's
hadn't
happy having all that feathers back.
if I hadn't taken that training, just this, if you start taking notes, that's a big part of it. All right. Now I see what you're doing. I'm gonna move it. Are you shocked? Are you just totally shocked that I moved it? Are you shocked? He said I was just gonna gnaw on it a little bit. Just a little bit. Ah, 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 ah.
Birds, birds, birds.
It's funny because there's no consequence to me making that sound. He's not going to be treated any different. I just want him to stop, and he knows it. And he stops just because he knows I want him to. All right? You're a good bird. You're a good bird. Yes, you are. A sweet boy. Yes, you are a sweet boy. I ordered you some more balls today. I ordered you some more rattle balls from our new supplier that has them at the right price. Yep.
What does that look for?
Oh, he's enjoying being petted, so he'll look at you that way. He flips his head around if you're petting him. Don't you, big boy? Yeah, we have a new wholesale supplier now, which has some of these items that one manufacturer doubling the price on toys and then giving you 50% off. It's like, hello, you double the price to $10. It was $5, and now you're selling it. It's on sale for $7.50. That's not on sale. I'm sorry, but we now have another place to buy you your little toys, don't we? And they also have those 4-foot rope perches. Boy, those have been almost impossible to find. I found the 4-foot rope perches there, so I don't know how long it'll take to get here because pretty much all the suppliers for this stuff are on the East Coast, and I understand they're having bad weather. I got messages to that effect.
Rosebud says the best facial expression goes to Cecil. That is
Oh,
definitely true.
yeah, he definitely lets you know what he's thinking with his face, don't you? You're just so fixated on this. Let's see if I can get the door open. It's gone.
Have you closed the door again?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Otherwise, he'd go out.
Yeah, that's what I imagine.
No,
What
you
do the
can't.
other birds think outside when there comes a clipboard flying?
I don't know. I'm not sure what the reaction is, but sometimes they'll start squawking when I do that. But
So when you now open the door, Cecil walks out first. Who comes next? Probably Shug Shug.
yeah, Cecil or KK will be first out. Although because usually it's KK because of Mander. Because Mander, when he sees the door open, he has a good time in here, but he wants out when I let the birds
Oh,
out. So
Manda would take his walk on. Okay.
yeah, if Mander comes over here and KK is still in the room, that's not a good thing. He can come over and hang on the rope or get on Sugar's perch, no problem. But if he tries to get on the floor, that doesn't work. No, last time when he got on the floor, it was okay. There was never a fight. I had to keep talking to KK to keep him down. But originally, when all it had to be was Mander on the floor and he was off. You have to grab him and get him back in his cage. Hi, hey boy.
So Jasmine, it's time to get up. Just 3 more minutes.
Yeah, she looks like she's pretty ready to do that. She's doing a little cleanup here, a little preening. What you got? Oh, you got those. Yeah, I know you like those. I know. You want to come up? Are you still having a moment with me because I threw the clipboard out? You were such a good bird today, though. Yes, it was a good boy. That's a good boy. Actually, I'm saying good boy to him now. I'm praising him for coming up here with a toy, which is always a good thing. He's such a good bird.
Bird. Okay,
Bird.
are you starting to talk English now?
You could say hi. I know you can. You said it to me. You said Cecil, and you said hello. It's cute when he says Cecil. It's Seesaw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sounds like a baby talking. He says Seesaw. That's not quite how I taught you how to say it, but it's your way. Well, thanks, guys, for being here, hanging out with us. KK says thank you. Can you say thank you, KK? Little boy. Thanks, Amy, for moderating.
Yeah, thank you for the live stream. So we can watch the birds. Who is looking for some Valentine's cards or so can have a look in our merch shop. There is, I think, a Cecil card who says, "Be my Valentine," and pillows and other bird stuff as well. Oh, thanks,
Yeah,
Tiki. Have you a great weekend as well. So everybody else.
yeah, thank you, Tiki. And I'm going to end this with playing that one video I made today. I just made that video actually earlier today. So
If you think being a parrot owner is just about tossing seeds and saying pretty bird, think again. You need to be a full-blown secret agent, complete with a trench coat, dark sunglasses, and a notepad for surveillance. Your parrot is always up to something, whether it's perfecting the art of screaming precisely when you take a phone call or shredding paperwork with the precision of a rogue document destroyer. By closely tracking behaviors over time, you can start seeing patterns, like realizing that squawking at 5 a.m. isn't random, but part of a grand psychological experiment they're conducting on you. Once you have enough intel, you can strategically adjust their environment, reinforcing good behavior and outmaneuvering their more diabolical tendencies. After all, if you don't keep a watchful eye, one day you might wake up to find your feathered mastermind has hacked your smart speaker and ordered 20 pounds of cashews.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
The Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.